All right, guys, welcome to the Marcus and Michael show. We are playing Where in the World is Michael Buckheiser this week. I'm sitting in front of a baseball park here. It's pretty exciting. It brings back some good old memories back in the day here. But as always, I'm joined with Marcus at Marcus the Freak on the Twitter machine. Marcus, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing pretty well. Surprising night last night for me with the way the draft lottery worked out, and yeah, let's get into it. And yeah, I'm doing good.
Yeah, I actually got to stay in a hotel room this this past night, and this is the first time that I've ever watched the draft lottery from start to like finish. Usually, like I tune in the last like 5 or 6 minutes just to see who, like like the final four, like however they pull it out, and
Right.
it, it, you you've been hyping up the drafts, and you have made me a draft fan. Like now I want to watch all 3 days of the NFL draft and the lottery. Now I'm intrigued for the 60 picks in the NBA draft. Uh, four of you guys, the guys that missed it, the New Orleans Pelicans did get the number one overall pick last night. I don't think anybody ever expected this whatsoever. So Marcus, I want to start right there on this. I'm going to throw you a curveball here, real fast. We kind of chatted about this a little bit. Does AD stay in New Orleans now with possibly Zion or John Morant coming to New Orleans? Like we might have be some technical difficulties here as we reconnect to Marcus here. Marcus, let me know whenever you're back. But guys,
Okay, I can hear you now. I
okay.
can hear you.
So before we kind of had an interruption there in our service, I was asking, with the Pelicans getting the number one overall pick, does that keep AD in town? Does that make New Orleans an instant championship contender with AD and Zion or John Morant?
Um, yes, that should be enough to keep 80 in town, but for Anthony Davis in town. But from what we're hearing right now, he still is adamant about leaving. Listen, if you're David Griffin, the general manager who just got hired, you're doing everything you can to keep Anthony Davis there. You have got to sell Anthony Davis on, look, we have Julius Randle, you and Zion, um, Drew Holiday, and Alfred Payton can play too. I mean, we've got a nucleus here. We just got to keep building and building. And I want you to be able to play with Zion. That's what I would convey to Anthony Davis. If you're David Griffin, you do everything you can to bring in to still keep Anthony Davis and give him that long-term deal. I think it's like 5 years, 230 million, something ridiculous. I don't know why Anthony Davis. I don't know why you would ever turn that down with a chance to play with Zion Williamson and to still stay with a coach like Alvin Gentry, who's a good man, a good coach, good man, good person all the way around. But Anthony Davis, from what I hear, still wants to leave, and so that also helps, David Griffin, because you can get a trade package from the Lakers, the Celtics, or the Knicks. Those are the three teams right now. So the fact that New Orleans won this draft lottery last night is unbelievable for their city, because at worst case scenario, they're getting Zion Williamson and a couple of good pieces. Best case scenario, they're keeping Anthony Davis with Zion Williamson to go with Drew Holiday and Julius Randle. And so that's why you saw Coach Alvin Gentry yell an expletive when he found out he got the number one pick, because this is all good for the city of New Orleans. The New Orleans got blessed again. It's unreal.
Yeah, and if AD doesn't even want to stay in town still, they still got Zion coming. So I
Yeah.
mean, there's still going to be that buzz in the city,
Yes.
in the NBA even, uh, just to see what New Orleans can do.
They,
So
they sold 2,000 season tickets in about an hour last night after they got the pick. So that's
there you go.
huge.
That 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 instantly shows you that, like, just having the number one overall pick brings such a
Yeah.
buzz to your team. There, me and I might be short lived. They could trade that pick off and get a couple,
Right.
late first round picks, or like or something. But since we're
Yes.
talking about the lottery right now, do you think the Pelicans was the biggest winner last night in the lottery?
Sure, they were the biggest winner, but the second and third biggest winners are the Memphis Grizzlies and the Atlanta Hawks. The Memphis Grizzlies are bereft of talent, okay? And they were looking at picking like what, spot 6 or 7 or something.
Yep.
They move up to number 2, and now they're going to get John Morant to pair with Mike Conley. Or, it may even give them the flexibility of trading Mike Conley. If somebody thinks they're a point guard away from winning a championship, you could trade Mike Conley and get assets because Mike Conley is a hell of a player. But to get a player in Memphis that, like I'm going to mention again, is bereft of talent, to get a player like John Morant in your program for the Memphis Grizzlies, their season tickets are going to go up. That is a highlight reel every night now in Memphis. Now people are going to tune into Memphis just like they're going to tune in now to New Orleans on your NBA package. They're probably going to put, those two are probably going to be put on a couple of more primetime games, especially New Orleans. But John Morant with Memphis to go with Jaren Jackson, their last top 5 pick of last year's draft, who's 6'11", really good player out of Michigan State. Now you have Jaren Jackson and John Morant, and you build around those two pieces, and you still have Mike Conley there steadying the ship. And if you want to trade Mike Conley and get more younger pieces, go ahead. Memphis won last night by getting the second overall pick and getting John Morant. I don't know how I can much convey that to you, Ian, anymore. That was a big deal last night for the Memphis Grizzlies. And I think the Atlanta Hawks, even though, there was talks about them getting Zion and being in the top 2, if you look at it last night, they have a young team, a young nucleus. And when you're sitting there and you're the Atlanta Hawks and you don't get those players, but you get the 9th and 11th picks of this year's NBA draft. So you mean to tell me you're going to be able to add a Hachimura, a Bol, a Brandon Clark to your program, Cameron Reddish? You're going to be able to add the Atlanta Hawks. You're going to be able to add 2 of those players I just mentioned to your program that already has Taurean Prince, Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, Collins. So Atlanta Hawks won last night by getting 2. They're going to have 2 lottery picks. And if they really want to get crazy, hey, maybe you can package 9 and 11 and move up to 5 if you think DeAndre Hunter is your guy or Jarrett Culver is your guy. But I would stand pat if I'm the Atlanta Hawks. I'd be enthralled right now. If I'm the Atlanta GM, I'm putting together my team, the players that I've drafted. I drafted Collins, I drafted Prince, Trae Young, Kevin Huerter. Now I'm going to add, if I'm the Atlanta GM, I'm going to add the 9th and 11th pick, and I'm building from within. And it's a great situation with the Atlanta Hawks. So Memphis, the real winner is New Orleans. The second is Memphis by getting John Morant. And I think Atlanta Hawks won because they have 2 lottery picks now, the 9th and 11th pick.
Yeah, having 2, actually it is the 8th and 10th pick.
Is it?
They got, yeah. So having 2 top 10 picks is even more spectacular. And I have to agree with you on the people who won the draft. The people that won the lottery. The people that definitely lost has to be the Cavaliers and the Suns both, being the 5th and 6th pick. The Cavs are in a lot more desperate need to get a player like John Morant or like Zion to basically put fans in the seats. But by them having a 5th pick, they necessarily cannot get that player that can carry their team like a Zion or Ja. So, I mean, the Cavs they're going to suck again this year. No matter who they get, they can get Darius Garland from Vanderbilt. They can get the New Albany kid that went to Indiana, Romeo
Langford.
Yeah, I mean, none of those guys are going to change the culture of a team all by themselves.
Yeah.
So they definitely have to be the biggest loser in this lottery, being picked at 5, because just like you said, the draft starts at 3, and and that couldn't be 100% true because you don't have those players that can completely change the culture of a team by just their presence on there.
Yeah, I think the bigger loser was Phoenix over Cleveland, obviously, because Phoenix, we were talking about Phoenix, and a lot of people were like, Phoenix could get the 2nd pick, the 1st pick, and now they dropped to 6th, and now they're just going to hope that that maybe Darius Garland falls to them because if you want that point guard. And Darius Garland reminds me he's the second best point guard in the draft behind John Morant. Now John Morant is a combo guard, could be a point guard. That's fine. He can do it both. But the second best that they're going to get now, instead of getting John Morant, they're going to get the second best at that position. And that's not even a guarantee. If I don't even think Darius Garland falls to 6, because Darius Garland to me, when I watch him play, he reminds me of Kyrie Irving. In other words, Darius Garland's a guy that you can give the ball to when the shot clock's running down, and you say go get a bucket, just like you can do with Kyrie. So I don't even think they're going to get him at 6. I think the Lakers are going to take him with the 4th pick. I mean, the Lakers are going to have a big decision with that 4th pick of Jarrett Culver, DeAndre Hunter, or Darius Garland. But, man, that's a tough one. I would take Darius Garland over Jarrett Culver. DeAndre Hunter would not be in my discussion at 4. It would be between Culver and Darius Garland. If I'm the Lakers, I probably take Garland. Now, Phoenix needing a point guard or wanting that John Morant point guard, now is not even going to get Darius Garland. So I think Phoenix really lost. Cleveland's sitting in an okay position, but not. You're like you said, they're not sitting in that position of 2nd overall pick or 1st overall pick. But at least Cleveland now will get their chance of getting a DeAndre Hunter or a Jarrett Culver, and so they'll get the pick of one of those two, and then Phoenix will be left of whoever they don't pick. Which Phoenix, it'll probably be either Jarrett Culver or DeAndre Hunter, which they shouldn't complain too much about. But yeah, you're right. Cleveland and Phoenix, if you talk about the losers of the draft, make a long story short, they had a chance to get the 1st and 2nd pick. Now they're at 5 and 6. So they couldn't be 2, 5 and 6 picks, and they were out of the mix of the 1 and 2. You're right.
Yeah. The only thing I could see possibly Phoenix being okay is because Darius Garland did play like 5 or 6 games before tearing his
5, yeah.
He tore his ACL, I think it was, or something,
yeah.
So the unknown of him still might make him drop a little bit. But I watched him in AAU ball because we went and saw Romeo Langford play some AAU ball because he's from our area. And him and Darius Garland were on the same team, and he is a very extreme talent. So for him to drop to that 6 or 7 seed or pick, it's a very good possibility because of the unknown of him. Romeo Langford would also be a pretty good pickup there for Phoenix as well. He is more of a shooting guard, not really that point guard type of person, but.
And they already have Booker. I think they were really looking for that point guard. And I'm going to tell you right now, if Darius Garland falls to 6, that's another one. If you're Phoenix, you couldn't hand that card in fast enough.
Yeah. Well,
Darius Garland would be the pick.
They don't make a mistake. The one thing that I've liked about this lottery is like none of the teams that had 14% chance they didn't get a top 2 pick.
And yeah, right.
And so basically next year, I mean, like. If everything holds true and Kyrie and KD don't go to the Knicks, I mean the Knicks, Bulls, and Suns, or like a lot like in the Cavs will probably all be the worst teams again, bidding for that 14% chance again. So
it was a big night for the NBA. No, you're right, Michael. You're glad that none of those teams that had a chance to get that top pick didn't, because. It's a big night for the NBA. Now I mean, there's no tanking really. I mean, if you tank, you're an idiot. I mean, you have there's no way, there's no guarantee you're going to get a top 2 pick if you're tanking now. So the NBA has corrected that. I think that's a big deal. You're 100% correct on that. That was nice to see, actually.
Yeah, I mean, really, they're still going to be tanking. Mark Cuban has openly said it, and like he was fined for it. I mean, like, I feel like the NBA as an organization should start finding these teams or penalizing if they are seen purposely trying to tank these games or like lose these games, but like not playing their starters and like that kind of thing. I mean, but like in the end, like there's going to be tanking always in the NBA. There's going to be tanking in Major League Baseball. You see it every year about late May, early June when teams start to clean house. They trade off all their good players and stuff. I mean, if that's
There's
not
just no
tanking,
more
I don't
big
know what
time.
it is.
There's just no more big time reward for it, though. I mean, just because you tank doesn't guarantee that you're going to get a top two pick now. I mean, there's just no guarantee of that. Before in the past, if you were terrible, you had the best chance of getting the number one pick. Now that's not possible. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point. Like, I love the 14%. Like that definitely made it a little bit more entertaining, and
Yeah.
just to see the Knicks face to drop like when they got that third overall pick, like
Yeah.
it was a magical
Yeah, no,
moment.
no, and let me say this too. We were talking about winners and losers. I think the Lakers are big winners too, in the sense that they could have had the 11th pick in the draft. They moved all the way up to 4.
Yeah,
So that's a big deal. That's a really big deal because now I mean, when you were at 11, you were still going to get a good player, but it's pretty much who falls to you. It's just more of a crapshoot. Now you have a chance because we already know the top 3 picks. Zion's going 1, Morant's going 2, Barrett's going 3 to the Knicks. And by the way, the Knicks shouldn't cry. I know they wanted Zion, but you're going to get R.J. Barrett, and you're probably going to get some good free aid. You have a lot of cap space, so the Knicks shouldn't cry too much. Although I can understand losing Zion, how you could maybe shed a little tear, but you're going to get R.J. Barrett, so let's not get crazy, and you're going to get some good players in free agency. But the Lakers won in the sense that they were the 11th pick, and now they're all the way at 4. Now they get to choose. They can use that 4th pick. It's better trade value than the 11th pick, obviously. But now they get to choose now between Jarrett Culver, Darius Garland, and DeAndre Hunter. And that's a good thing to go think about right now. If you're in the Lakers organization, you're looking at these 3 players that are going to fall to you at 4, and you get to pick the best of one of these 3 players. If you want your defender, if LeBron James wants his defender in DeAndre Hunter and teach him, and he's a good spot up shooter, that's what LeBron wants, then you take DeAndre Hunter at 4. And you think you're fine with the point guard. If you want Darius Holland, who's a heck of a point guard, like I said, he reminds me of Kyrie Irving. And you want him there to be paired with Lonzo Ball and Hart, the other point guard, because excuse me, Holland. Garland is a even though he's 6'2", he's a multi-dimensional player in terms of he can spot up and shoot too if he's on the Lakers. He's not just a point guard. He's in that Kyrie mold where he can stand around, he can catch and shoot as well, and he can create his own shots. He's a hell of a player. And then if you want Jarrett Culver, who's about 6'6", who has like DeMar DeRozan game, but a better 3-point shooter, you can take that player. So the Lakers moving from 11 to 4, and this was in that draft lottery last night. They won too because they have 3 players they get to choose from who are pretty special, who can be pretty special.
yeah, and that definitely made them a championship contending team, right?
Well, no, I mean, no,
Joking.
it's not going to make them a championship team. It's they build for the future. That's what they're doing. They got to build for the future.
Right. They have 3 more years to trust the process, huh? Over there in like L.A. But
Well, no, I mean, no, I'm not saying they're going to be like championship contenders, but no, I mean, to go from 11 to 4 is nice. I mean,
yeah,
that's just the bottom line. Yeah, I mean, also if you want Anthony Davis, which I don't, if I'm New Orleans, I don't trade to the Lakers. I don't trade to the Western Conference. I just don't. I'm trading Anthony Davis, and I'm doing like the Spurs did with Kawhi Leonard. I'm sending you as far away from me as I can, and that means I'm sending you to the Knicks. If I'm David Griffin, I'm sending Anthony Davis to the Knicks, or I'm sending him to Boston. I think Boston has the better pieces that I would want, but the Knicks also have a nice offer because if I'm David Griffin, if I send him to the Knicks, I'm getting back R.J. Barrett. I can team with Zion Williamson again.
yeah, that would be pretty special move for them, I think. But we're going to take
Yeah.
a quick little break here, play some ads, and we'll get back to you guys here in 1 second or 30. We'll be back. And welcome back to the Marcus and Mike Show, guys. I am Mike. My man over here to the left is Marcus. If you guys are new here to the YouTube channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with a couple friends, and also hit that bell icon to get notifications every time we put up a new podcast. We normally get it out Monday through Friday at 2:30 East Coast time. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, any type of podcast form out there. Be sure to follow those media platforms and give us a ranking as well. Uh, Marcus, we're going to move on past the lottery and teams that are not in the lottery here in the wonderful world of the NBA playoffs. Last night we had Golden State taking on Portland Trailblazers. We both said Portland had to win game one, and they laid a dud. They got beat 116 to 94 this past night. Uh, it wasn't very pretty. Steph Curry did hit 9 3-pointers to lead the way for Golden State. What are your thoughts on this game and some thoughts moving forward for Portland?
Um, I'm lost for words at this. Um, Portland played like a Portland Trailblazers played like they were playing Charlotte on a Wednesday night with two people watching in an NBA regular season. It was a pathetic performance. I mean, just to say the least. It was one of those nights where I wish I had a crystal ball so I could look ahead and see the future for the next 2 hours. And after the draft lottery, I'd have went to the movies or, got a red box or something. It was absolutely horrific from a Portland Trailblazer standpoint. The defense, you may as well have, you just stood around like you're playing 21 in the street with your friends. I mean, it was just absolutely terrible. They didn't come to play. I understand they were just played 2 days ago, but that's baloney. They should have been in rhythm. Golden State should have been the ones that were a little high emotionally off of beating Houston and maybe struggle, but they didn't. Golden State showed why. They won 73 games a few years ago with this lineup out there with Iguodala and Green and Thompson and Curry, and it was just. I mean, I don't even know. C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard. I don't know who was in their bodies last night, but it wasn't them. And then I mentioned yesterday that Enes Kanter shouldn't be on the floor. The only way you're going to beat the Golden State Warriors, and what I said yesterday is if you need to put five guys out there that can score at any moment, and Portland didn't do it. Listen, if you're not going to play defense, Enes Kanter, and if he's not gonna punish Draymond Green in the post, he's no good in this series. Capella was almost a no-show in the other series. You can't. DeAndre Jordan with the Clippers always struggled against Golden State. You can't have a big in there that's just not doing anything. That's not getting out on the shooters when they set the pick and roll on him. Enes Kanter was just a complete waste of energy and time last night. You're starting five to beat the Warriors, and this is without KD. Is having Collins in there, Seth Curry, and Rodney Hood to go along with McCollum and Lillard. And I only saw that lineup a couple of times last night, and that's the only lineup that can score with the Warriors if you're not going to play any defense. Listen, the Warriors are going to win this thing in 7 anyway because KD's coming back. They might even win it in 5 or 6. But, that was a pathetic performance by the Portland Trailblazers last night all the way around. Defensively was just horrific. And then, like I said, they didn't make it any better. If you're going to play that porous defense, at least show up offensively. They showed no heart. They were running around. The Golden State Warriors were playing last night. They were playing defense last night like if it was game 7 of any round. And it was game 1. And the Warriors showed the championship heart, just like they did in game 6. And Portland didn't match it at all. It was just amazing to watch. And I don't know how you can do that when you're supposed to be this great backcourt and you want to challenge Clay and Curry for the best backcourt in the NBA, and you basically laid an egg last night. That was pathetic. And let's hopefully they come back on Thursday night in game 2. Because I still think the Trailblazers can get a game, but they have got to be much better defensively and put a lineup out there that's worthy of playing against Golden State.
Yeah, you are 100% right. C.J. McCollum missed 5 of 6 3-point shots this past night, only making 1 on his way to a 17-point night. Pretty horrible and not going to hang with the Golden State Warriors shooting the ball like that. With you being said, the way the Warriors were playing defense like it was game 7, that is true because they just want to make this a short series. They are tired of playing 6-7 game series. They've already played 12 games, counting 13 this past night. They 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 want to bring KD healthy back in the finals. Golden State knows that they can beat Portland without KD in 5 games in this series if they play the way they're able to play. They play good, solid defense for 40 minutes, maybe not the full 48, but a good 40 minutes. Take about 8 minutes off, and then shoot the way they know how to shoot. The
Right.
only the, the only way Portland is going to win a game this series is when Golden State kind of has a off night
Yeah.
shooting, and that is probably going to be Game 3 in Portland because it is historically that's the game that is kind of stolen or the road team just plays bad because they get height from 2 home games and then they travel like on the road and it's kind
Yeah.
of a letdown in Game 3 historically throughout the playoffs and series just in general. So
Right.
I I'm still going 5 games with Golden State in the series. KD's not going to make an appearance, possibly in Game 5, but be very, maybe play 27 minutes, come off the
Yeah.
bench, just to make sure he is 100% for the finals. Because if Golden State does not have KD in the finals, they cannot beat Milwaukee or Toronto. So they definitely need him back for the finals. That's why it's
Yeah.
not easy getting him back.
Right. I completely agree with you. I mean, they can fool around with Portland like this. What was amazing last night is Golden State didn't even play their best offense, which
Right.
Klay Thompson missed about 5 wide open threes that he normally. I mean, he can make in his sleep, and they turn the ball over a little bit. You see Stephen Curry. They get real cocky and confident. Stephen Curry, a couple of turnovers, throwing the ball behind his back, and you can't do that against the Raptors and the Bucks. Um, but Portland is just not equipped for that. They're run and gun. They're not playing defense. So you can do all the behind the backs, I guess, and all that. But yeah, Portland. I mean, Toronto and Milwaukee will put a stop to that. They will need Kevin Durant to win the NBA Finals this year. It won't. This will be their best test besides the 2016 LeBron James team
Yeah, and it's
that
funny
had
that
every.
you brought up
Yeah.
Klay Thompson and like how bad he shot. This is Klay Thompson. Like he kind of mingles around the first 3 games, has a great game four, and we're giving him all the praise for the next week
Yeah.
for one good game. So his good game this series will come in Game 5 in that closeout game, uh, like at home more than likely. So I mean, Klay Thompson's just doing Klay Thompson things I think in his playoff career.
Yeah, no, and it's amazing to watch Golden State. Listen, they're better with Kevin Durant. I mean, that's no brainer. But it's amazing to watch Golden State without Kevin Durant because they remind you, and especially Stephen Curry, he reminds you that hey, I'm a top 5 player. I
Yeah,
mean, we talk Giannis and Kawhi and Kevin Durant and Harden and Jokic, and yeah, that's fine. But Stephen Curry once in a while will remind you, and that he is a top 5 player, and because his playoff performances have not been great. They haven't been like his regular season when they won 73 games. He was hitting shots, from 50 feet. He doesn't do that in the playoffs as much at all. But last night he reminded you he's a top 5 player, and he just looks. Man, it's just funny how they look. It's like a relaxed. They're more relaxed when Kevin Durant's out there. They look like they rev it up. It seems like when Kevin Durant is not out there, they're free flowing. They're trying harder. It's just amazing to watch the old Warriors from about 4 years ago without KD. And they just showed the world last night that they're still here even without Kevin Durant. But that being said, they can get away with that through the West. They will not get away with that in the East. And let me just say this: if LeBron was still in Cleveland and Kyrie and Kevin Love was fully healthy and Kyrie was playing at his best, and they still had that same team in Cleveland, they would need KD as well to beat those Cavaliers. So they can do that against the West, but they will not do that against Toronto and Kawhi Leonard and Siakam and Ibaka and those guys. They won't do that to them. They
yeah,
won't do that to Giannis.
you are 100% right. Where this team is still pretty damn good without KD. The only thing that they're lacking is that depth that they had in
Right.
years past. Maybe even with the Boogie Cousins, that they would still at least push the NBA Finals to 7 games. But if KD's not in the finals, I mean, it could be a 5 or 6 game series. Them on the losing end of that, obviously.
Yeah, no, because they will see defense with likes they haven't seen in a while since the 2016 Cavaliers, where that Cavaliers team, as crazy as this sounds, Tristan Thompson had him a little scared. He actually became a shot blocker in that series. They were switching everything. Th- yeah, I mean Cleveland was up into them defensively, up into their shorts, and so they had a hard time in Game 6 and 7 when they lost that championship to Cleveland. Check this out. Curry, the great Stephen Curry, had 19 points in that final Game 7. He was 6 of 19 shooting. He was just perplexed by the Cleveland Cavaliers defense, and that same thing will happen to him in a few weeks here in the NBA Finals. Do they need Kevin Durant to win that?
Yeah, I totally agree. But let's take a quick break here. We're going to talk Bucks and Raptors right after the break. We'll be right back. All right, guys, and welcome back to the Marcus and Mike Show. My eye is on fire. I don't think I'm getting ready to lose a contact. That's always exciting. But, Marcus, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Milwaukee and Toronto start their series tonight in Milwaukee. The Greek Freak versus Kawhi, as this series is kind of shaping out to be. First of all, who do you got winning this series and why?
I got the Bucks in 7. I think every team's going to win on their home court. That's how good these guys are. Um, I think everybody's going to hold serve. This is a very evenly matched um, teams here. Getting Brogdon back, Michael Brogdon, um, back from his injury is absolutely huge for Milwaukee, and he'll going to pay dividends playing against Curry, and we'll talk about that in a few weeks. But this is fun to watch. To me, this is must see TV, and this won't be as exciting, guys, as Lillard and McCollum and Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry just jacking up threes and just having fun. This one's going to be more highly contested, more defense. I mean, this is like Texas Tech and Virginia against each other, but better offense. It's going to be better with better offensive players, obviously. But they play defense, Toronto and Milwaukee, like you wouldn't believe. These games are not. I don't think any of these games are going to be in the 120s. This will be like a little old school NBA. This will be in the 90s, and some people don't like to hear that, but I love to watch it. Great defense, and you have to beat it with passing, cutting, shooting, and some better offense. And this is going to be a really big time series for defensive wise. I cannot wait to see who checks Giannis. I don't think Kawhi will ever guard him. I mean, maybe if he gets switched on to him, maybe in crucial moments, Kawhi might want to take that challenge. I don't know. We'll see. But that's got to be Siakam and Ibaka at 6'9", 6'10". They're a little bit light to guard Giannis as well. So this is going to be fun. Toronto guards the perimeter about as well as any NBA team. That being said, Milwaukee has great shooters where Giannis, and they move the ball really well in that Coach Bud system. Giannis throws the ball out to these shooters, and they're pretty good. These guys are knockdown shooters. Mirotic and Lopez um, and the All-Star this year, oh my God, from A&M, anyways, they have great shooters. So this is gonna be really good to see here. Which team comes out on top here? These scores I think will be in the 90s, and it's gonna be fun to watch. This is a defensive series, and who can get stops and who not. I know the NBA likes to go make or miss league. That make or miss league is more so in that Portland Golden State series.
Yeah.
This is more defensive and who can get stops in this series.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Uh, I am rooting for the Raptors in this series because I think they match up better with Golden State in the finals. But I think Milwaukee is going to win this series. Uh, I do think it is going to go 7 games as well. But I think Raptors are going to win game 2 on the road, and then the Bucks are going to come back and win game 3 on the road to basically pull the favor back in their favor,
Yeah.
and then both teams hold serve on their home court after just like after that. I just I think the Bucks match up better with, or they're better talented than Toronto, but Toronto matches up better with Golden State. So I'm definitely rooting for Toronto to knock off Golden State, or get to the finals to knock off Golden State, I should
Yeah.
say. But the Bucks will definitely win this series. Giannis is going to, or sorry, the Greek Freak is going to have a great series. Uh, I don't see anybody that can stop him on the Toronto side. Uh,
Yeah.
he is just too big and too strong and too athletic to really be stopped as far as anybody on the Toronto side of the ball. Um, I look for him to average 30 plus points in this series, 10 to 12 boards as well. Just he is going to go off this series. And with that being said, with the 7 game series that they're going to play, they're going to be wore out going into the finals, and then they're going to get swept by Golden State in the finals.
You wait. You think? Oh, you think Milwaukee will get swept by Golden State?
Yeah, in the finals.
Oh wow. I think Milwaukee's a better team than Denver, Portland, um, everybody in the Clippers, everybody that they faced. So wow, that's and Chris Middleton was the guy that I couldn't think of his name. He's another the shooter from Milwaukee I was talking about. And Chris Middleton was their second All Star. I can't wait to see Toronto, how they are like in crunch time. Yes, it's Kawhi. It's Kawhi. But Coach Bud knows that. Coach Budenholzer. So somebody for Toronto is going to have to step up and make big shots, whether it's Siakam, Ibaka, Kyle Lowry, Danny Green. I mean, we you can't have this hot potato like you had the last series where it was just Kawhi and nobody else here. You shoot at Kawhi. It cannot be like that against Milwaukee. Otherwise, Milwaukee will whip their butt. You know what I mean? So yeah, let's see. I want to see who steps up for Toronto besides Kawhi Leonard. That's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, with my statement that I said earlier about the Bucks getting swept by Golden State in the finals, I think this Eastern Conference Finals series is going to be better than the Western Conference Finals and then the finals, like itself. Everybody should be tuning in to this Eastern Conference Finals series because it's going to be the best basketball that we've seen, this whole playoffs and then moving forward as well.
Yeah, no doubt. And I man, the Bucks are going to give, or Toronto is going to give Golden State everything they can handle. Playing the funny thing about playing Portland is not going to prepare you for playing Milwaukee or Toronto style. Their defense, how they challenge perimeter shooters and everything like that. It would be like Alabama playing um, North
Citadel.
Texas. Yeah, North Texas, and then next week having to play Louisville. Playing North Texas, I mean, next week having to play LSU. North Texas is not going to get you ready to play LSU. So that's the one thing that, yeah, Portland is the opposite. Golden State will have to go back to the drawing board after they beat Portland and figure out how Portland, I mean, how Toronto and Milwaukee will defend them. It's going to be a whole different animal. That thing. That's why I don't see any sweep in that thing. That Milwaukee has beaten teams this year. They've beaten like out of all their wins, like 52 of them have come double digit wins. They are destroying people defensively, and they're hitting enough shots on the perimeter to beat people by 15 to go with their defense. So Toronto's in trouble here if other people don't step up besides Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, I think Ibaka definitely has to show his face in this series. He's been kind of silent the last couple series. I actually forgot he was even playing on their team until like was it game 2 or 3 of the last series. It was just mind boggling that he can become just not perform in the play like the way I'm used to him seeing him perform uh, when he was with Oklahoma City. I remember correctly. Sorry, my
Right.
eyes are like on fire right now. I don't know what happened, uh, but we both have Milwaukee winning the series in 7. Uh, Marcus thinks that all the home teams are going to win. I think Toronto will win Game 2, and then Milwaukee will win Game 3 on the road, and then they'll hold serve
And
from
you
there on
got
out.
you got Milwaukee tonight, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Milwaukee
do
will
too.
win Game 1, but then Toronto will steal a Game 2, and then
Yeah.
Milwaukee will steal the Game 3 back. Uh, so with
Yeah.
that, with all that being said, guys, thank you for joining us today. Uh, will join us tomorrow, same time, same place. We're going to talk some more NBA playoffs. Of course, it is that time of year. We're going to start hammering it out, and then we're going to start sprinkling a little bit of NBA draft. Um, Marcus is working on his big board as always over there. I'm gonna
I
start
got my
working.
mock draft ready.
Yeah, and I'm going to start working on mine as soon as I get back into my office. I got to go to work and work on my mock draft there. So we'll start sprinkling that in here and now because what the draft is June 20th, right?
June 20th.
There we go. So guys, join us tomorrow, same time, same place, and we're out.